The Sonderkraftfahrzeug or Special Purpose Vehicle 234 was a family of armored cars designed and built in Germany during World War II. The vehicles were lightly armored and they were armed with a 20, 50 or 75 mm main gun. The 234 series of armored cars was one of the most advanced concepts in wheeled fighting vehicle designs to appear during the war. It had improvements in armor, speed, and range. In its original 1940 concept, the 234 series was to operate in hot climates. The Czech firm Tatra produced its air-cooled V12 diesel engine that had an output of 220 horsepower. The Büssig company made the hull, and the Daimler-Benz was responsible for the turret. The best-known version of the series was the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234/2. Nicknamed the Puma, this heavy reconnaissance car was produced from late 1943 to mid-1944. The Puma addressed the most common complaint among armored car crewmen, the lack of firepower when forced to engage the enemy. The vehicle included the same 50 mm gun which was carried in the Panzer IIIL version tanks in a cramped enclosed turret with all-around traverse. The main gun did feature a muzzle brake, and the vehicle carried 55 rounds for the main gun. The weight of the 50 mm gun and turret did result in the loss of speed for the Puma, but this proved to be insignificant to the vehicle's combat performance. The Puma was produced simultaneously with the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234/3, which served as a support vehicle for the reconnaissance vehicles. It had an open-topped superstructure in which a short-barreled 7.5 cm gun was installed. This gun was intended for use against soft targets. However, when using a hollow charge shell, the penetration power exceeded the Puma's main gun. As a German officer noted after the war, "The best patrols I had were those with clean guns. Even worthwhile targets were only reported and not engaged. This is the business of others. The troop leader with a tendency to bang away is useless for reconnaissance purposes, since he is soon located by the enemy and chased like a rabbit. A report giving the location of the enemy tanks is much more value than 5 shut-up lorries." By the time of the Normandy campaign, the basic organization of the Armoured Recon battalion had changed from its original 1939 organization. It contained a battalion HQ, a staff company, 3 Armoured Recon companies, a heavy company, and a supply company. In practice, this organization was only theoretical. The Pumas were to make up the Panzerspach company of all panzer divisions, but by the summer of 1944 there were simply not enough Pumas to fill the organizational needs of the German Panzer Division. The Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234/2 would see action in Normandy with 3 panzer divisions. The 2nd Panzer Division and the Panzerlehr Division were both fully equipped with the Puma, having a complement of 26 vehicles. The 1st SS Panzer Division, Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler, also had a number of Puma armored cars, but did not possess a full complement of them. The tactic of the Puma was to see but not to be seen, and engage the enemy only when necessary. So the radio was the most important weapon, not the main gun. Most of the time the Pumas were organized into 3 car groups for intelligence gathering missions on enemy movements and locations. Of all the missions, the Puma crew were assigned infiltration was the most difficult. As an officer explained, the initial penetration into unknown enemy territory was always difficult. For this purpose, our own local attacks were taken advantage of before the enemy could recover his balance. German crews learned important techniques to improve stealth, such as easing the vehicles into the gear and running in low gear so they made very little noise. This was opposed to American crewmen who were known for gunning their engines and thus giving away their positions to a skilled observer. The Pumas were used to find the enemy, screen the flanks, and the companies were only used together in certain combat situations, such as to screen the division during a withdrawal. They conducted the ground reconnaissance for the panzer divisions they were assigned to. Only in open terrain, when being followed or to protect a withdrawal, is the company used together. The Puma performed well in its traditional role and even showed strength in the attack. The Pumas first saw combat in Normandy with the Panzer Division's drive into the invasion zone on the 8th of June 1944. A few days later, on the night of the 13th of June, Pumas of the 2nd Panzer Division engaged elements of the US 26th Infantry Division, which had inconclusive results. The Panzer Division's greatest enemy in Normandy proved to be the Allied fighter bombers, and the Pumas struggled with this foe as well. The stealth and infiltration techniques practiced by the recon companies, whose emphasis was on seeking cover during the day, did help a high percentage of Pumas to survive the heavy damage of the Panzer divisions took during the Normandy campaign. Of the original 26 Pumas from the Panzer division that started the campaign, only 8 survived the campaign. As the Panzer divisions involved in the Normandy campaign were rebuilt in the fall of 1942, the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234/2 was no longer available in any numbers and was replaced with the more readily available Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234/1 and 3 at that time. With the end of the campaign in Normandy, so too ended the reign of the Pumas as the Panzer Division's main armored scout car. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.